Dr. Weiss here with the Beverly Hills Brain and Body Center. We're going to talk about integrative medicine. It is simple, but it is not easy. I had a physics professor when I was a freshman in college, and in this very erudite fashion, he said, "Physics is very simple, but it is not easy." So the whole Newtonian physics is expressed as force equals mass times acceleration, right? Very simple. But Physics 101 was not so easy, at least not for me anyway. So the same thing can be said of integrative medicine. So take, for instance, for a couple of conditions that we've talked about, such as Lyme or chronic fatigue, or even some of the musculoskeletal conditions. So we said for the chronic infectious conditions, everything comes down to treating the infections and boosting the immune system. And that's it. And then for musculoskeletal conditions that are mechanical in nature, you have tissue that's either too tight or too loose. It's very simple. But actually digging into the roots of that and all the different layers of it to bring somebody from being not well to being well can actually get quite complex. So we want to give you an idea of how that looks. So we talked about how we have mind, we have emotions, we have spirit, we have the body. Let's dig into that a little bit more. So on the level of body, and this is kind of modeled off of the functional medicine matrix. We have structural integrity. So this deals with everything from how well our cells in our gut are fitting together to make sure we don't have leaky gut, to whether our ligaments and our tendons are stable enough so that they can hold our joints together. So from the micro to the macro. And then we have let's call it GI, we have a gastrointestinal system. Okay? And this has to deal with chewing our food, making sure that everything gets broken down appropriately, and then everything gets absorbed appropriately. There's a lot that goes on to make sure that we actually absorb the nutrients that we are taking in. So we have a GI system, and we have an immune or a defense system. Okay, this has to do with our immune system and its ability to fight off invaders. So for instance, some of the same infections that may end up causing chronic fatigue syndrome for one person, somebody might have their life upended by these infections, whereas somebody with a more competent immune system with a stronger ability to defend itself won't even feel it with that same bug in their system. So also still on the topic of body, we have an energy system. So this comprises of our mitochondria, so our ability to produce the cellular currency of ATP. ATP are like the dollar bills in our system that allow us to get any sort of work done. So the ability to do that is absolutely crucial. If you don't have an economy in your body, you can't get work done. And then we have a detoxification system. So this is getting rid of all the waste, whether it's waste that's produced internally or whether it is some sort of toxin that was taken in from the outside, such as pesticides, herbicides, air pollution, so on and so forth. And then we have a CV for cardiovascular system. We need a system to transport all of the fluids and the nutrients around the whole body. And we also have a hormone system, or a communication system that allows different parts of the body to talk to each other. Now, each one of these different nodes on the level of body, they all talk to each other. For instance, let's say somebody comes in and their chief complaint is that they've got some achy joints. Well, for one person, their problem may be all here because they've had a bunch of old injuries that haven't gotten resolved, so they need some regenerative medicine injections to fix those old injuries. Take, for instance, somebody else who, say, maybe 20 or 30 years ago, they may have traveled to South America or somewhere else in the world and they caught some sort of GI bug, and then their digestion was never the same. Let's say they got bloated, they get indigestion, and then years down the line, they've got this leaky gut barrier going on. They're not absorbing their nutrients properly, and thereby their tendons and their ligaments are not able to keep themselves in proper integrity, which then predisposes them to getting osteoarthritis. So you know, on first glance, you take a history and it may sound like their problems are here, but actually, if you don't fix this, then this problem is going to keep coming back for them. So that's one key thing to understand, is that wherever somebody's saying their problem is, somebody may say their problem sounds like it's in one of these places, but there's often other things going on that need to address to get resolution. So if you step on a cat's tail, the sound comes out of, well, not its rear end, it comes out of its mouth. So again, just because you have a symptom in one place doesn't mean that that's the primary driver of the whole pathology that's going on. So just to complicate the matters, we've got mind, we've got emotions, and we've got spirit. And not only do all of these things affect each other, but there's a back and forth between all the areas of the body as well. So there's a lot going on that needs to be addressed to really take somebody that's been very chronically ill and has been non-responding to many other conventional therapies and actually bring them back to health. And one of the big concepts that we use to do this for each person is called sequencing. What sequencing is taking the primary area where somebody's ready, willing, and able to make a shift and giving them an intervention so that their system can get to a greater degree of health. And for each person and at each point in time, that may be very different for them. And that's why we don't have any set protocols here at the Beverly Hills Brain and Body Center. We have concepts that we apply to everybody. And some treatments may end up looking similar for people, but the order it goes in, the intensity it goes in, and the different types of treatments involved in bringing your system back to balance are going to differ. So again, integrative medicine, simple, but not easy.